This is the Eye of Africa, and today I'm checking a country called South Africa. South Africa is a very economically fit country and a member of BRICS, and I think by this advantage, it's a country that can be used to shape the continent of Africa. But Donald Trump is bullying South Africa, and these are the reasons. Because South Africa is capable. South Africa has resources. South Africa has educated people. South Africa is in BRICS, and Trump does not like BRICS. On this video, I'm going to tell you Donald Trump is even in shock of South Africa because South Africa does not care anymore about what Trump said, even if he's cutting the AIDS.
We want to make it categorically clear to the President of the USA that we are going to expropriate land without compensation and pursue legislative measures to do so, and no threat will stop us.
So, Trump decided to cut aid to South Africa because of land appropriation, taking back lands from the white settlers without compensation. That's what South Africa is doing. And it's like South Africa, or it's like Donald Trump is using this land appropriation to bully South Africa. But I think that is not the problem. The problem is Donald Trump is bullying South Africa because of their membership in BRICS. That's what I think personally. But right now, South Africa is using methods to make sure that even though Trump has cut aid to South Africa, they will manage to run the country efficiently. And that's what a lot of African countries need to do. Because if you as an African country, you are creating your own economy, you don't depend on these aids, you don't depend on Western countries, no one will bully you, no Western country will bully you. Now, South Africa has decided to increase tax so that they can raise enough money to deal with health issues, because HIV and AIDS, it's a lot in South Africa, and that's where Trump was aiding, or US aid was helping South Africa dealing with health crisis, and we have again security crisis. Now, South Africa has decided, or right now is dealing with their own problem without depending on USA again. Donald Trump thought that he is going to take South Africa down, but this is 2025, and the leaders who are in power right now, they are thinking, Ramaphosa is thinking the right way. We don't need corrupt leaders, because if we don't have corrupt leaders, we will raise a country by our own. This is what African countries have to do. Now, a lot of African countries are depending on aid. That is the reality. Kenya depending on aid. Ghana depending on aid. A lot of African countries are depending on aids. And depending in aids make a lot of countries poor. The people of the countries, or Africans at large, they are very poor because we are depending on these aids and this IMF money and loans to run the country. But right now, we need to do, or to make steps to make sure that we are not depending again on these foreign countries. Now, Ibrahim Traore has shown the way. Now I see South Africa is following the steps. And one of the things South Africa has done is to work on tax collection, tax reforms, and compliance, strengthening tax collection system and reduce tax evasion and illicit financial flows, because that's the only way they can collect enough money on their own. Now, let me tell you this. To overcome dependence on aid, Africans or African countries or South Africa as a whole needs to focus on the structure of economic transformation, self-reliance, and strategic policy making. And some of the key things that needs to be checked. Number one is strengthening domestic resource mobilization. By doing this is to work on tax reforms, to work in the management of natural resources, to work on reducing illicit financial flows, and by these ways they will strengthen domestic resource mobilization. Because when you manage your natural resources, it ensures that African countries get fair deals from mining, oils, and agriculture. But right now, they do not get fair deals because as an African countries, you don't manage your own resources, or we don't manage our own resources. We have a lot of Western influence. We have a lot of, like France are benefiting more from natural resources in Africa more than the countries, so it is better we manage our own resources. And I give thumbs up to Ibrahim Traore. He is making sure that natural resources of Burkina Faso is the one that is creating or developing Burkina Faso. The economic of Burkina Faso is being managed by the natural resources of Burkina Faso. So even the farmers will not cry, or the farmers will not go poor, simply because they are getting, or they getting what they deserve from these natural resources or agriculture products. They are getting the fair cuts or fair deals. Now, we have industrialization and value addition. Move from raw materials exports, manufacturing, and value-added products in agriculture, mining, and energy sectors. Developing regional supply chains to reduce reliance on imported goods. Invest in infrastructure, energy, transport to support industrial growth. So, by doing these things, a country will depend on its own. We will not depend on aids. Okay? Investing into local agriculture and food security is another way to go. You see what Ibrahim Traore is doing. Investing into local agriculture. Improving the agriculture. Giving technology machines to farmers so that they can grow. They can plant a lot of food. They can produce a lot of foods in the country. So by supporting agri-processing industry, it reduces dependency on important foods, protect African seeds sovereignty instead of relying to foreign-owned agribusiness. This is the only way that we will make Africa great. This is the only way that will bring about the economy of Africa. This is the only way that South Africa will beat the Trump sanctions, because Trump is bullying South Africa, not knowing that we have minds in South Africa that can decide, you know what, we are not engaging anymore in things that are bringing down our country. And these things that are bringing countries down, these things that are making countries to depend on foreign countries, number one is colonial legacy and economic structure. A lot of African leaders, most of them are still under colonial rules, or are still under colonial structure. So they depend on France, they depend on USA, they depend on Portuguese for their survival. But when we ditch all this, we will start doing great as a country. Other thing that is bringing our countries down, poor governance and corruption. A lot of African leaders a lot of countries are facing corruption. A lot of corrupt leaders and etc. etc. And this is literally a country will never grow. But South Africa, right now, I see it is taking moves. As I started earlier, I said that South Africa is capable of shaping the way of Africa, because as per now, it's only South Africa that is economically fit. As per now, it's only South Africa that is a member of BRICS. And BRICS is a combination of China, Russia, Brazil, India, and South Africa. All the countries that are in BRICS are capable of helping South Africa to be an economically fit country. Now, we need to ditch foreign political influence. We need to ditch the foreign economic interest. Let us deal by our own. Donor countries use aids as a tool to maintain colonialism, to maintain neocolonialism, as a tool to maintain the influence of a lot of African countries. But if we ditch this, it will be amazing. If we stop the foreign influence, it will be amazing. We have to have good friendship. Now, the war that's going on, or the insecurities that is going on between, we have seen Congo, Rwanda, South Africa, all of the three countries engaging in unnecessary battles, and that cannot help. That is a weakling to our countries. The only thing that can help is of these countries to unite. Congo, Africa, or Congo, South Africa, and Rwanda to speak one language. But right now, they are blaming each other. So it is so hard to do an intra-business between these two countries. It is so hard to maintain the good relationship between these countries because a citizen from Rwanda sees a citizen from Congo as an enemy. Those in South Africa sees a citizen in Congo as an enemy. So it is so hard to work into this. So we need to stop security issues and conflicts. This is the only way that we can do business together. We can move from one country to another and everything will be great. So wars, insurgencies, and political instability weaken economies, making countries reliant on foreign military. And for a foreign country to strengthen their influence in an African country, or for a foreign country to maintain their influence here, they are creating wars. And by creating wars, they are bringing their military and they are saying we are helping. That is not helping. Yeah, they are using our weakness for their own good. So South Africa has taken bold move dealing with tax. What South Africa has done, let me check. What South Africa has done is this. Let me tell you what South Africa has done. And I love it. South Africa's budget adjustment. The South Africa government has proposed increasing value-added tax VAT by 0.5 in 2025-2026, with the additional of 0.5% hike planned for the following year, raising a VAT rate to 16%. This measure aims to fund increased spending on health and defense, particularly addressing the needs of the country's large HIV positive pollution and strengthening military forces due to conflicts in Eastern Congo. That is a good move, but of course, with that move, we need to eradicate corruption, because even if we collect all these taxes with corruption, nothing will move. Another thing, South Africa plans to invest 1 billion rand to support local production of electric vehicles, batteries, and related manufacturing projects. This initiative aims to transition the automotive industry from primarily producing internal combustion engine vehicle to including EVs by 2035. That is the best thing South Africa is doing. And a lot of African countries must follow these moves to stop depending on aids. Because these countries will just wake up and say, we're putting sanction. We are stopping this. So a lot of African countries, both of them need to follow this one. And this is one of the agendas of Ibrahim Traore. The agenda to be a self-sufficient. Agenda to run a country by yourself. Okay? Tell me what you think on the comment section. This is the eye of Africa. Yo.